Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi everybody, Mike B here with the second of 2 stakes races for the New York bred sprinters on Sunday's Aqueduct card. This one, race number 9, is the Rego Park. This one's for 3-year-olds only. It's a 6.5 furlong sprint. The purse is $100,000. Let's take a look at this field of 6. Say Florida Sandy earlier on the card for the older horses. They got 6. Rego Park has 6 3-year-olds. The morning line favorite, number 3, and horse to beat is Antonio of Venice for Rudy Rodriguez and Manny Franco. Antonio of Venice 7-5 on the morning line, and coming off of a pretty significant win off of a little bit of a layoff in his most recent start. They ran him in the Great White Way division of the New York Stallion Series, the big $500,000 purse on the line for that race. So they got 12 horses to show up, and Antonio of Venice not only got the job done at over 6-1 odds, he was much the best in that race, and it's not even the top figure of his career. But that was a really good performance to win in his most recent start, going the 7 furlong distance. Now he's going to go 6.5, and he's got speed. He's the horse to beat. Speaking of speed, let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector real quick. The number 4, Detective Tom, is a horse who has plenty of early speed, and I do expect them, if they're going to run him in this spot, to come out of the gate looking for the early lead and then just sort of see what happens. This horse is only 1 for 4 to begin his career, and that win did come on turf in his career debut, but he's run pretty well on dirt, most notably 2 starts back in the Notebook Stakes, where he just missed by a head. He made the early lead that day. The pace wasn't that fast, I got to say that, but he made the early lead, and he was hanging around it there at the end at a very big price, and he just got run down at the end of that race by the favorite. So it was a good performance. He's run back since then against a couple of these same rivals in an entry-level allowance race, and he didn't run as well, but he does have speed. I expect him to go. The problem for him is Antonio of Venice is not a slow horse. He's supposed to be forward in this race, and I just really didn't feel like Manny Franco was going to be playing very many games early in this race. He's on the favorite in here. He's coming off of a really nice performance where he almost got into too much trouble to overcome before he managed to extricate himself and win. I don't feel like they're probably going to want to be playing too many games there. I think he'll be forward in here, and I don't think that's going to allow Detective Tom to get loose, which is probably going to need to happen if he's going to win this race. Let's start out the analysis by taking a look at the horse down on the rail. 12-1 on the morning line is 13 Red Flags. Just off of a maiden win here in her most recent start. She's going to take on the Colts in this race. Her debut going a mile on a muddy sealed racetrack in a maiden claiming race, ran okay that day. That race was won wire to wire by the longest shot on the board, but this horse got into contention, just got tired at the end of that race, and it's not easy, obviously, to debut going a mile. Moved up in class to the maiden special weight race for a second start, cut back to this 6.5 furlong distance, and actually, I gotta say, ran a much, much better race in that spot. Got a really good trip in that race, but took it to the 3-5 favorite on the lead, put that horse away very easily in the stretch, and just went on with it and won clear at the end. It was a much improved performance. It was a way tougher spot. She's gonna be a big price in this race. The 2 is Mischief Joke, 2-1 on the morning line for Mike Maker, Dylan Davis, retaining the mount, and this is the main danger to the favorite in here. I don't think there's any doubt about it. He's only 1 for 9 lifetime. He has settled for second 5 times, but this is a horse who started out early. He debuted in an open maiden special weight race at Keeneland to kick off his career, and those earlier races for the 2-year-olds last year, the 4.5, 5 furlong races, this horse didn't win any of them. He ran fine in them. It just felt like they were maybe a little too short for this horse. Once they got a little bit more distance behind him, I think he really did take a step forward. He got the maiden win with a solid figure. He just easily handled that race. And then his next 2 starts in stakes races out of the maiden win, both on wet tracks, which I don't think he loves, by the way, but I did think he ran sort of an underrated race in the New York Breeders' Futurity, sprinting up at the Finger Lakes. He did not get good position early in that race, and then he just had too much to do through the stretch. But I thought he ran well, and then I thought he ran well again. They cut him back for his most recent start, and he got back on fast start. But look at the replay of this race. He doesn't get the job done here, but this is a good performance from Mischief Joke, a horse who sort of kept up. He was sort of between and behind horses until they got to the top of the stretch. Dylan Davis floated him 4 wide there at the top of the stretch, and he's going to put in a really game finish here to just miss to a horse on the lead, Elysian Meadows, so I do think has a chance to be pretty good. That horse is 2 for 2 right now for trainer Bill Mott. Mischief Joke can't quite get there, but I thought he ran really well in that race. He's a major player in this running of the Rego Park. The 3 is Antonio of Venice. Again, he's just way the horse to beat in here. he ran some good races early on. He did finish behind Mischief Joke in a maiden race back over the summer at Belmont Park, but this horse stumbled badly at the start that day, and then he bounced right out of that with an easy maiden win in his next start. They tried him in an open stakes race that was rained off the turf, which I don't think you're supposed to care about, and then he ran really well in the Aspirant up at Finger Lakes. He didn't win that race, but he earned a 73 buyer, getting tired at the end. Here's his most recent start, though. This is the race we were talking about at the Open, the Great White Way. It's 7 furlongs. It's a $500,000 purse. You can see it's a big field. And this horse, he got a good trip in here overall. I mean, he kept right up, and he always looked like he was going to run, but he took a bump at the top of the stretch, managed to hold his position. Then he has to alter all the way to the outside as this field's coming into the final furlong just to get clear. And he still is going to come with a really good finish to close this race down. This is a very strong performance. And if he runs that well back in this spot, he's just going to be really hard to beat because he's going to be forward in here, but he doesn't need to be right on the lead if the pace is fast. And he's probably going to have the jump on Mischief Joke, who feels like his main rival in this race. Detective Tom, we talked about him a little bit. He's got good speed. He did run really well in Notebook 2 starts back, but he had a clear lead that day. The pace wasn't super fast, and he still couldn't hold it. And then he did not run as well in his most recent start. That was that Mischief Joke we showed you before. This horse was on the lead in there, but when he got challenged, he was just really no match in the final furlong of that race and got tired at the end. He's going to have to try to bounce back here, and really feels like his best chance is just to shake loose on the lead if he can somehow do that and try to take this field wire to wire. Always a Warrior was also in the Notebook 2 starts back where he finished behind Detective Tom and never really threatened in that race. And then he was also in that Mischief Joke replay that we showed earlier. And you know, he didn't really run that well, in my opinion, in that race either. Overall, I just thought he got a really good trip in that race, just sort of sitting in behind the lead on the inside. He had room up the rail through the stretch, and I thought he did his best in there, and he just wasn't good enough. He did prevail for third over Detective Tom. I didn't like that performance. I thought this horse was just in really, really tough in a race like this one. Allied Attack completes the field to number 6. He's a stablemate of Mischief Jokes for trainer Mike Maker. He's coming into this right off of a maiden win in his most recent start, for which he earned a 62 buyer after getting loose on the early lead in that race. It was a very easy win. It was also with the addition of Lasix, which maybe helped him move forward. Of course, he can't race with Lasix in this race, so we'll see if it makes any kind of a difference. If nothing else, he's probably going to have to do it a different way because I don't think he's making the lead in here, and he's just going to have to take a step forward to get past the 2 favorites. And I thought it was a pretty tall order for Allied Attack, but Maker will give it a go, I guess. That's the field for the Rego Park. It's the second of 2 stakes races for the New York breds on that Sunday card. And, you know, while I recognize Antonio Venice as the horse to beat in this race, and I do think he's going to be really tough in here, I just want to give a little shot to Mischief Joker. He's going to be a better price. I don't think he's that far off of Antonio Venice if he can get the right trip in this race. Maybe Antonio Venice has to work a little bit with Detective Tom up front, and it helps Mischief Joke. I'll go 2-3 in the Rego Park, the 9th race on the Sunday card at Aqueduct. The approximate post time, 3:47 Eastern time. Good luck.